Have you ever wondered what the ancient Stoics could teach us about intimacy? Not just love in the poetic sense, but deep, meaningful connection, the kind that withstands time, trials, and temptation. We often think of Stoicism as a philosophy of discipline, resilience, and logic. But what if I told you that hidden in the writings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus are powerful insights into intimacy, lessons that could transform the way you experience love and connection? If you want to unlock these 5 secret Stoic positions on intimacy, stick with me until the end. This might just change the way you see relationships forever. And if you enjoy content that bridges ancient wisdom with modern life, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The Stoics weren't monks living in isolation. They were emperors, statesmen, and teachers deeply engaged in human relationships. They experienced love, heartbreak, desire, and loss just as we do. But what made them different was their approach. Marcus Aurelius, the most famous Stoic emperor, had a wife, Faustina, whom he both loved and struggled with. His meditations are filled with reflections not just on ruling Rome, but on managing his emotions in relationships. Seneca, an advisor to Emperor Nero, wrote extensively on love and marriage. Epictetus, though never married in his early years, later adopted a child and took on the responsibilities of a family. They believed that intimacy wasn't just about passion, it was about virtue, balance, and deep understanding. And through their wisdom, we can uncover 5 powerful Stoic positions on intimacy that can help us master love and relationships today. Position 1. Love as a discipline, not just a feeling. Let me ask you something. Have you ever fallen so deeply in love that it consumed you? Maybe you stayed up all night thinking about them. Every song on the radio suddenly became your song, and their text had the power to make or break your entire day. Now let me ask you another question. Have you ever suffered because of that love? Maybe you felt anxious, constantly worried about whether they loved you as much as you loved them. Maybe you gave too much only to feel unappreciated, or maybe one day they left, and it shattered you. If that resonates with you, then listen closely, because the Stoics would say that what you experienced wasn't love. It was attachment. It was desire. It was dependency. But true love? The kind that lasts, that doesn't destroy you, but builds you, that kind of love is a discipline. The Roman senator's love story and how it went wrong. Picture a young Roman senator, ambitious and full of dreams. He meets a woman and suddenly his world changes. He dedicates poetry to her. He worships the ground she walks on. His emotions swing wildly. One moment he's euphoric. The next he's in agony, terrified of losing her. Then one day she leaves. Maybe she finds another love, maybe she simply grows distant. The reason doesn't matter. What matters is what happens to him next. He stops focusing on his work. He isolates himself, he questions his worth. The man who once stood strong in the Senate, speaking with conviction, now can barely compose himself. He had mistaken infatuation for love. Marcus Aurelius's advice on love. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, had a different perspective. He reminds us, love nothing but what comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. For what could more aptly fit your needs? What does this mean? It means that love should not control you, it should align with your nature. Love should not make you weak, it should make you stronger. Love should not leave you desperate, it should be something you accept with gratitude, not something you cling to in fear. How to apply this to your own love life? Think about your own love story for a second. Have you ever given so much to someone that you lost yourself?
Have you ever felt like love was something that happened to you,
rather than something you actively cultivated? The Stoics would tell you to shift your mindset. Instead of saying, I need them to be happy, say, I am grateful for their presence, but my happiness is mine to own. I will fall apart without them. Say, I will love them deeply, but I will not depend on them for my existence. Real love isn't just passion, it's practice. It's waking up every day and choosing to love with wisdom, with strength, and with virtue. So tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced a love that made you weak? And do you think you could transform it into a love that makes you strong? Position 2. Detachment strengthens intimacy. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you couldn't breathe? Maybe you loved someone so much that you constantly worried about losing them. Every time they took longer to reply, your heart raced. Every time they seemed distant, you panicked. Or maybe you've been on the other side, where someone loved you so much that their neediness became overwhelming. They always needed reassurance, always needed to be with you, and their love, instead of feeling warm and comforting, started to feel suffocating. If you've ever felt this way, then you're about to hear something that could change the way you see love forever. Because the Stoics believe something radical: detachment actually makes love stronger. The story of the Roman general who lost himself in love. Imagine a powerful Roman general, let's call him Cassius. He's strong, disciplined, a man of honor. He commands thousands of soldiers, and when he speaks, people listen. Then one day, he falls in love. At first, it's beautiful. He cherishes her, thinks about her constantly, writes letters when he's away at war. But slowly, something changes. He starts fearing that he's not enough for her. He becomes jealous, insecure, constantly needing reassurance. His mind, once sharp and focused, becomes clouded with doubt. Then one day she leaves. Maybe she fell out of love, maybe she wanted something different. And Cassius? He's destroyed. The same man who once stood fearless on the battlefield is now broken because he built his entire happiness around someone else. Epictetus' warning about love. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, gives us this wisdom. When you are delighted with anything, be mindful to say, "This is something I love, but it is not mine to control." Love is beautiful, but it's not possession. A person is not yours, they are with you by choice. And the tighter you try to hold on to them, the more likely they are to slip through your fingers. How to love without losing yourself. Think about your own love life. Have you ever loved in a way that made you feel powerless? Have you ever held on so tightly that it pushed someone away? The Stoics teach us to shift our mindset. Instead of thinking, "I need them to be happy," think, "I choose to be happy with or without them." Instead of "I can't live without them," say, "I am grateful for every moment with them, but my life is my own." When you stop clinging, love becomes lighter. It breathes, it grows, it flourishes. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever lost yourself in love? And do you think detachment could actually make your love stronger? Position 3. Mastering temptation with Stoic self-control. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt tempted in love? Maybe you were in a relationship, committed, loyal, and yet someone else caught your eye. Maybe it was just a thought, a passing feeling, but it made you question yourself. Or maybe you've been on the other side where someone you love was tempted, and even if they never acted on it, just the idea of it haunted you. Temptation is part of human nature, but the Stoics believe that how we handle it determines the strength of our character and the strength of our love. The story of the wealthy Roman who risked it all for a moment of pleasure. Imagine a powerful Roman statesman, let's call him Lucius. He has everything: wealth, status, and a wife who loves him. But one day, while at a lavish banquet, he meets someone new. She's charming, mysterious, and suddenly, he feels alive in a way he hasn't felt in years. He tells himself it's just harmless fun. But then one night he gives in. One moment of weakness, one decision made out of impulse instead of wisdom. And what happens next? Guilt, regret. His wife finds out. Trust is broken. His home, once full of love, now feels cold and distant. Lucius thought temptation was harmless until it destroyed everything he built. Seneca's warning about desire. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, warns us about this in his letters to Lucilius. If you allow yourself to be carried away by passion, it will never stop at what is enough. Temptation is never satisfied. It always asks for more. The more you give in, the weaker you become. But self-control? That is real power. How to resist temptation and stay true in love. Now think about your own life. Have you ever faced temptation? Maybe it wasn't cheating, maybe it was a small betrayal of trust, a lie, a selfish act. The Stoics teach us to ask ourselves, is this moment of pleasure worth the long-term cost? Will this choice bring me closer to the person I want to be? Am I acting out of love or just feeding my impulses? When we master our desires, we build stronger relationships not just with others but with ourselves. So tell me in the comments, have you ever struggled with temptation? And do you think self-control is the key to true love? Position 4. Communication through virtue. Let me ask you, have you ever had a fight with someone you loved that made you say things you later regretted? Maybe you raised your voice. Maybe you said something hurtful in the heat of the moment, and afterward, you wished you could take it all back. Or maybe you've been on the other side where someone you love said something cruel, not because they meant it, but because they let their emotions take over. And even though they apologized, the words still lingered, leaving a scar. The Stoics believed that communication wasn't just about talking, it was about speaking with wisdom, patience, and virtue, because words once spoken cannot be taken back. The story of a Roman husband who learned too late. Imagine a Roman merchant, let's call him Titus. He's hardworking, ambitious, and devoted to his wife. Julia, but like any couple, they have their disagreements. One night after a long day, she brings up something small. Maybe she asks why he didn't come home earlier. Tired and frustrated, he snaps. "Why do you always nag? Do you ever stop complaining?" Julia's face falls. She says nothing, just nods and walks away. Titus doesn't think much of it. He assumes she'll get over it. But something changes. She speaks less, smiles less. The warmth between them slowly fades. And one day when he finally asks, "What's wrong?" she says, "I just got tired of fighting to be heard." By the time he realizes his mistake, it's too late. The damage is done. Marcus Aurelius' advice on handling disagreements. Marcus Aurelius gives us a simple but powerful rule. If someone is mistaken, instruct them kindly. Show them the better way, but do not insult them. Most fights aren't about who's right or wrong. They're about how we make the other person feel. A Stoic doesn't lash out in anger. A Stoic doesn't aim to win an argument. A Stoic communicates with patience, with wisdom, with kindness. How to practice Stoic communication in your own relationships. Think about your last argument with someone you love. Did you speak with wisdom or with impulse? Next time, try this. Pause before you react. Ask yourself, is my response coming from ego or love? Choose words that heal, not harm. You can be honest without being cruel. Focus on understanding, not just responding. Listen to hear them, not just to reply. Communication is an art, and when done with virtue, it strengthens love instead of breaking it. So tell me in the comments, have you ever said something in anger that you wished you could take back? And do you think practicing Stoic communication could save relationships? Position 5. Acceptance is the highest form of love. Let me ask you, have you ever loved someone but wished they were just a little different? Maybe you wanted them to be more affectionate, more understanding, more like the version of them you had in your mind. Or maybe you've been on the other side where someone loved you, but only when you fit their expectations. And the moment you made a mistake, the moment you weren't who they wanted you to be, they pulled away. The Stoics believe that the highest form of love is acceptance, not just of a person's best qualities, but also their flaws, their imperfections, and even the reality that one day they may no longer be in our lives. The story of a Roman poet who couldn't accept reality. Imagine a Roman poet, let's call him Flavius. He falls madly in love with a woman, Livia. She is beautiful, intelligent, and kind, but she is also independent, free-spirited, and not as expressive with her emotions as he wants her to be. At first, Flavius adores everything about her, but over time, he starts wishing she would change. Why can't she be more affectionate, he thinks. Why doesn't she say, "I love you" more often? He begins to criticize her, not directly, but in small ways. He gets frustrated when she doesn't meet his expectations. And one day, after another argument, she tells him, "You don't love me, you love the idea of me." Livia leaves and Flavius is left alone, realizing too late that love isn't about changing someone, it's about accepting them as they are. Marcus Aurelius on loving what is. Marcus Aurelius gives us a powerful lesson on acceptance. Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. This means loving someone as they are, not as we wish they were. It means accepting the highs and the lows, the moments of passion and the moments of distance. It even means accepting that love, like life, is impermanent. How to practice amor fati in love. Think about your own love story. Have you ever wished someone would change for you? Have you ever resisted reality instead of embracing it? The Stoics teach us, love the person, not the potential. Don't fall in love with who they could be. Love them for who they are. Accept impermanence. Every love story has an end. This makes every moment more precious. Let go of control. The more you try to force love to fit your expectations, the more you push it away. Love is not about perfection. It's about seeing someone fully, flaws and all, and choosing them anyway. Tell me in the comments, have you ever struggled to accept someone as they are? And do you think true love is about embracing reality, not trying to change it? Conclusion. So to master intimacy the Stoic way, remember these 5 positions. 1. Love is a discipline, not just a feeling. 2. Detachment strengthens intimacy. 3. Master temptation with self-control. 4. Communicate through virtue. 5. Acceptance is the highest form of love. When we approach relationships through these principles, we don't just love, we love deeply, wisely, and freely. If you found value in this, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And if you made it this far, tell me in the comments which of these Stoic lessons on intimacy resonated with you the most. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.